I always get asked, do you still get nervous before speaking in front of large crowds? The answer, yes. I still get nervous. No matter how much preparation I do, no matter how many times I check my notes, review my photos, and visualize my talk, that feeling of doubt persists. That fear of failure creeps into the back of my mind. Should I be here? Am I good enough? Will people like what I have to say? Can I do better than I did last year? Can I live up to the expectations of others? The last thing I want to do is disappoint or embarrass myself. So yes, I still get nervous, and I wouldn't want it any other way. But as soon as I step on that stage and give my intro, the nerves all but disappear.
Jared Polin Frono's photo. Well, I'd like to say see ya, but that's usually when I leave. There's three types of people in this world. People who make things happen, people who let things happen, and those who wonder what the fuck happened, right? That was a letter that my dad wrote to me in my 20s when I was struggling to find direction. And he was trying to get something through to me to help me figure out what it is. Like, I was sitting around, but I had good work, but people weren't discovering me. I mean, we're talking in the early 2000s. It wasn't very easy. You put up a website, it's good, and then you're like, why isn't anybody hiring me? You don't know. But he was trying to instill this idea that I need to go and make stuff happen. I can't just sit around and expect it to happen. And I'm here to also say that there's no secrets to being successful. You just have to do the work. And that is a large premise of what I'm talking about today. And so at the time when I was struggling, I just didn't know what direction I was going. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And I felt that I was going to become successful off of someone else's success. I was shooting with bands. And I thought, wow, if I'm that band's photographer, then somehow I'm going to end up being a success because they're a success. And that's not a great place to be, beholden to someone else and their work ethic. Not to say they didn't work hard, but I remember the lead singer of the band saying to me one day that one day he's going to buy a building in Philly, one of those old brick buildings that are going to be cool, like a big loft, and it's going to be his studio, but he's going to give me an office there. And I was like, that's awesome. Well, I'm happy to say I own 5 of them now, myself, because I have this self-belief that I can pretty much do anything. Now, before I get too far, I have my niece and nephew. They're up front, and their job is to count curses. Each of you, because it's $5 a curse. So it's $10 a curse, not counting the ones I already said. It's $10 every time I got to pay them, but that doesn't mean I'm, not gonna curse. So we'll definitely figure that out. So yeah, when my dad handed me that, he wasn't doing it to be mean. He was doing it to try and get me to go and actually do something. Because that is what it's all about. If you sit around waiting for stuff to happen, nothing is ever going to happen. And that whole latching on to other people to be a success, I've tried that in the past. Whether it was wedding photography and having a business partner, whether it was like a music magazine and having someone else that's a partner, and me always feeling like, well, I'm gonna become a success because of them. And that's just not the case. Definitely not the case. So here's a few things that I want to talk about today. Making shit happen. Book 2 stories. Anybody have my book yet? Anybody get it? We got a couple people up here. Thank you. There's not that many out there yet. We've got personal projects and working for free, which you hear a lot of people talk about you shouldn't work for free, but I have different thoughts on that. What's the worst they can say? I love doing rapid fire Q&As at the end, so I like to leave time. So if you've got good questions, not shitty ones, then you can go ahead and think of those. And then, of course, there's a not clickbait thing of one more thing that I will say at the very end of this. So I want to talk about how I ended up photographing Norah Jones for Rolling Stone. It was my very first assignment. But before I got an assignment, I called Rolling Stone because I'm like, I want to shoot for Rolling Stone. The truth of the matter is, and I hope the person isn't watching, that I saw a friend of mine at the time did like a freelance gig, and I'm like, I'm better than they are. That's what went through my head, and I'm like, I should be getting that job. So I called, I got the photo editor on the phone, and I'm like, my name's Jared, I live in Philly, I want to shoot concerts for you guys. And she's like, cool, we'll call you if we need you. And I was like, well, I didn't give you my phone number. How are you gonna get in touch with me? But she already hung up, so it didn't matter. So 6 months later, I decided to just, you know what, I'm gonna call again. That $10 thing, I was gonna say fuck right there, but I didn't. It cost me $10 every time. I called back 6 months later, and there was a cheery voice on the other end of the line, and she was like, a new person was there. And I told her who I was. She's like, send me some of your work. I dialed up my AOL, I sent her some of my photos, because this is 2002, and sent her my work. Lo and behold, You've Got Mail comes in one day, and she's like, we need you to go photograph Norah Jones. Here's what we need. That's your assignment. It was one of the worst venues ever to shoot at. The Mann Center for Performing Arts in Philly doesn't have a photo pit, and so this is film. This is 800 speed film for anybody that cares. A funny note here is when this was scanned, you can actually see the right side of the frame from the frame before over there, because the guy that scanned it at the beginning didn't realize it was too dark to scan, but I left it this way because it lived on, and I thought that was cool. But after the show, I wanted to get access. I wanted to get behind the scenes candid images, and I remember that the Rolling Stone, my photo editor said, there's no chance you're gonna get backstage. They said absolutely not. So whatever, I don't listen, because I don't like listening or being told no. So I had the tour manager's number. After the show, I called the tour manager and I said, hey, Jared, shooting for Rolling Stone, is there any chance I could get a pass to come downstairs to photograph Norah to do some candids? He's like, you know what, we'll send you up a pass, you can ask her yourself. They take me downstairs, here's Norah. Hey Norah, I'd love to take some candids, what do you think? And she's like, I don't like photos. I'm like, can I do a few? And she's like, okay. She relented, and she's like, all right, you can do a few photos. So I'm back here, you've got Gillian Welch and her brother, people I never knew, but I only cared about getting Norah. I told her that I would be quick. I told her that it wouldn't take up too much of her time. I took like 8 or 10 frames, and then I told her I was done. She's like, you're done already? I was like, I told you I would be quick, and I walked out and I was done. You know, the moral there is you've got to ask, what is the worst thing that anybody's gonna say? I mean, how many times, Jay, how many times, my brother's here, how many times growing up did we hear, you gotta just ask? A lot. Mom and dad just said, what's the worst they can say is no. So I'm a big proponent of asking, and that's how I've gotten so many things, because you never know. And even if they say no, you don't give up, you just keep going back and pick up that phone again, and you do it again. So that's how I ended up getting access to this. And after I delivered the images, the photo editor, she called me and she goes, how did you do that? I'm like, I asked. There's no secrets. Again, there's no secrets to this stuff. I have this self-belief that I can do anything. Good or bad or indifferent, it's just a very strong self-belief. Some people will say it's arrogance. Some will say it's confidence. I say it's a bit of both, because it is a bit of both. You know, we got this guy. Well, it's 2004. Kanye West is coming to Philly. I heard about a show that was happening, and there was it wasn't public. It was gonna be like a college show, because this other guy who I had no idea who it was didn't have an album, no one knew his name. I waited in the rain for 3 hours backstage at the Electric Factory in Philly with no idea if I would be accepted in, because there was no pass, there was nothing. And so I'm waiting, umbrella, rain, strobe, stands, camera bag, finally I get the tour manager, I say, look, I'm freelancing for Rolling Stone. And I never lie to people about that, because it's freelancing. I don't say I'm working for Rolling Stone, I'm freelancing, which means there's a potential it might show up there. But you need an affiliation, you need something to say, right? And so I say it, I mean, it was pretty strong to be able to say that because it was true. And he's like, all right, you got 2 minutes set up in this room. So I go in, I'm setting up, I see Kanye coming in, he's got his entourage, I took a bunch of sample images and I'm ready to go. And then Kanye comes in, says whatever Kanye says, I don't know what he says. Double popped collar, all the gold, all the backpacks. And he goes, can my boy so-and-so get in on this photo? I'm like, I don't want to curse. I'm like, shit. Did you say do it? So I'm like, I'm not going to tell Kanye no, right? I'm not going to be like, no, you can't have this guy. I just want you. So I had about 47 seconds of photos, and I took 12 or 13 photos, and I was done, and we ended up with this. And this is just one of those things that it just, I don't know. Hey, guys, hold out. You should see the other pictures. They're in my book. I put all 12 of them so you can see the ones that weren't good, which is basically all of them, but the good one. The next day, I called up someone's label, and I was like, who's this other guy? And they're like, it's some guy named Johnny Legend. 2004 didn't have an album, but it just turns out to be one of those images that you look at, and you're like, okay, I'm glad Kanye wanted to have this guy in the photo. So this is my friend Stefan Macchio. Stefan co-wrote Wrecking Ball. He's worked with Celine Dion. He's done the stuff for The Weeknd. My favorite he worked with was Avril Lavigne, but he didn't call me. I was very upset. I would have liked to have gone in there and photographed with her. He was part of a 6 Degree project, which I'll talk about, which is a personal project, which is coming up in a few slides. But I was out there in LA with him, and he goes, James Blunt is coming tomorrow. I was like, I love James Blunt. And if anybody remembers, was anybody here 2 years ago when I did this and made everybody cry? Thank you, Jeffrey. One of the songs I talked about was like Watching You Breathe or Carry You Home, which the lines are watching you breathing for the last time, which was the thing that I played after my mom died, and I was just sharing my thoughts. And he let me know that James was coming, and I just wanted to photograph James. I've never photographed him before, and I never met him before, but I said to Stefan, I said, tomorrow, when James is opening for Ed Sheeran at the Staples Center, I will be on the stage shooting photos. Remember that self-belief thing? And I'm like, but he knew that I'd never met James. He's like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. So James comes in, candids. I don't really talk to him, just behind-the-scenes stuff. Part of the reason I was shooting out of these rooms is most of my book is shot with Nikon. 98.999% of that book is all Nikon because it was all Nikon DSLRs that I was using. But I wasn't shooting, you didn't have silent yet with the D4, or at least good silent. And so I just stayed outside of these rooms capturing these images. Just candids, which I love behind the scenes. And then James is getting ready to go. He's getting ready to leave. I hadn't talked to him all day. So he's sitting in the car with the door open for the Uber or his driver to get back to the Staples Center. And I go, James, can I leave with you right now? What do you think he said? That is correct. He said no. Was that Jace? Yeah, thank you, Jace. He said, let me check with my tour manager. Door shuts, he leaves. 5 minutes later, Stefan gets a text, and it's, you get there by 7. Well, this is LA, it's 5:30. I got to go like 2 miles. I get there at like 6:57. The tour manager meets me upstairs, brings me down, and then there's James just tying his shoes backstage. And this is one of those things, again, where I asked. If I didn't ask him, I wouldn't have gotten this. And what did I say at the beginning, the day before? I said, I'm going to be on stage photographing James Blunt, which hasn't happened yet. The behind-the-scenes stuff is what I love, because it gives you the access to what you don't normally see. So this is a very Spinal Tap thing. We started walking. I run ahead of them. I make a left, and the band yells, Jared, it's to the right. I'm like, darn. Not doing it. So then the next corner, I go to the left. Jared, it's to the right. And that's why they're laughing at me. But that's funny. You can't get upset. I mean, you're part of the show. You're part of these guys having fun. And they're not making fun of you. They're laughing with you, and you're a part of the team. And then right before they go on stage, and then finally on stage, To do this, you have to walk up on stage. And a lot of people are afraid to be seen. They tell you to wear black on stage. Do I wear black on stage? No. I wear purple. And I have big hair, and you can see me. You can actually watch a video that they posted, James Blunt's people posted, where you see me pop up behind an amp, and there's my hair, it's just popped up. But I don't worry about what people are going to think. They're not looking at me. I mean, some people, you guys that are at these shows and watching, will take pictures of me on stage, which is always fun to see. But I know that the picture is going to live on a lot longer than any of the people that are there going, man, that guy ruined the show. Because I didn't ruin the show, but I got the shot. And so that, again, goes back to that belief that I can do anything. It's not true. I haven't bowled a 300 game yet in bowling. I'm trying hard and failing, but we're getting there. So yeah, I mean, there's a theme here, and it's getting out there and doing stuff and asking for access and asking for permission. And there's no secret, but there's no substitute for 20 years of experience. There's no substitute for experience, and that's not to scare anybody that's younger away from doing the hard work. I started shooting at 13. How old am I, Jules?
43.
Close. I'm 44 now. I'm 44. I've been shooting a long time, and the key is starting. You start. Again, no secrets to this. The only way you get better is by doing. You don't get 20 years of experience by not putting in the 20 years. But you don't need 20. Like I've been shooting all those years, still having that belief that I was great. Do I look back at some of that work and think it's not that good? I still think it's really good. But it's not as good as some of the stuff today. But it's just, you just have to put in the work. Another prime example. We've got the Foo Fighters backstage. So how this all came about is, well, connections are very important, right? Networking is extremely important, something I failed at when I first started because I thought that, I shot for Rolling Stone. I photographed the Flyers. I don't need to work with anybody else. I'll just sit on my ass. That's not a curse. I sit on my butt in my brother's room after he moved out because that was my office, and that stuff is going to happen. Anyway, the connections help. Through a connection that I met on the road, because everybody on the road knows somebody else, Chris Shiflett, the guitar player for the Foo Fighters, had a new Fender Strat or a new Fender guitar that he designed coming out. And they needed someone to photograph him when he came through Philly. So I got the call, we set it up. I say to the management, their management, I'm like, I'd love to shoot candids behind the scenes because, right, we just ask for things. What are they going to say? He said, no one gets backstage. That's what my note said. He's like, no, absolutely not. No one, no access, no one's back there ever. I'm like, whatever. And I ended up emailing Chris because I had his email. And I was like, Chris, hey, I'm coming to photograph. I'd love to get there earlier in the day. Is it possible to come backstage to do some candids? And I left it at that. And then when I went to Will Call early to pick up my tickets and my pass, I opened it up. There's a note with an all-access pass that said, come back whenever you're ready. So managers, generally, I got an angry phone call after that, and they told me, that's not good. I was like, whatever. I already did it. It's done. So I find myself in, this is called the jam room. These guys play almost a concert before the show, just getting ready. 3-4 songs in a space smaller than the stage, and I'm just standing there next to Dave, who had that broken ankle at the time, right? So I'm right there. You got Taylor Hawkins playing drums. Dave staring me down, mean mugging. Dave rolling down to the stage with Pat Smear. It's like you basically have all of Nirvana in the frame, and it's pretty amazing to stand in those rooms. I do recommend you all wear earplugs if you're ever shooting concerts because it does get very loud. So it's very important that you do that. But the way this happened is I asked. Again, I asked to get the access. That guy. 2005 Jared. I'm wearing a shirt that says Fuzz Magazine. It was my attempt at making a print magazine in 2005, which was probably stupid. No, it actually was stupid because why didn't we go online? I don't know why we didn't go online. That would have been the best thing to do. But I had an affiliation. I made my own affiliation. I mean, how many people out here want to shoot shows? Anybody? Yes, no, somebody? Some people want to shoot shows. You have to have affiliations. You have to reach out to people and say, can I shoot for you? Can I photograph for you? Or start your own thing. Because a lot of these people, they're not going to give you access if you're a freelancer. They're not going to be like, okay, you're a freelancer, cool, what are you going to do with your photos? You need to have an affiliation. So this Fuzz magazine, it was an affiliation. And that gave me a lot of access at the time. A couple years later, another self-portrait. The way that this was captured, I'm holding a remote trigger. I have a camera where you guys are sitting. Tell Walt to jump, boom, trigger it, freeze it in action. And then we go to the next. One of my all-time favorite self-portraits has a ton of work, all the way down to looking at Almost Famous in the DVD drive, because that was the movie that set my path from sports to go to music, because Almost Famous was there. All of the different passes. A Fuzz magazine sample issue that was all that ever came out, because that was a failure. But you can see me amongst my work. And in 2012, this was my first loft. And you can see just the progression of the larger prints as my work got bigger and better. Let's go to Perry Farrell. This was my first real tour in 2007. And the way that this happened, this is a selfie in the bathroom, obviously, in the mirror. My friend, who was in a band called Silvertide, and they broke up, was playing guitar for Perry Farrell, Satellite Party. And he's like, they're looking for someone to come on the road to make content. I don't even know if they used the word content yet in 2007. It was like, they just want people to make video and photos. Because it was MySpace era and the beginning of Facebook. It just had, Facebook just opened up to everybody. And I get a phone call as I'm driving down to the show, and it's Perry on the phone, and he goes, hey, Jared, what are you doing for the next 6 weeks, man? I'm like, I don't know, Perry, what, touring with you? He's like, maybe. So then I meet Perry on the bus, show him some of my work, and he's like, I can pay you $750 a week plus $40 a day per diem, and we leave tonight. Okay. I drive home, tell my dad I'm going on the road for 6 weeks, drops me back off there for the show, and I end up on the road with Perry for 6 weeks. Connections, meeting people, putting in the work, that is the important stuff. You have to put in the work. You have to get the access. You have to get the trust. These artists and people have to trust you. And if you lose the trust, you're out. You're just out. So it's just, you don't want to screw over the artists. You don't want to screw over anybody, honestly, because it just leads to not getting calls and not getting the job. Behind the scenes, Perry, he's ironing his own stuff, right? This is the stuff that I've always wanted to get photos of. It's one thing to shoot things on stage. It's another thing to be able to have access to Perry or the artist. Perry doing yoga before the show. I love photos inside of photos. I love all of the stories inside of here, from the clothes rack to the clothes on the sofa, getting ready to see which one's he going to pick for the show. All of the band's other stuff, all their suitcases, top down, straight. This is an homage to Neil Leifer, to be honest with you. Neil, one of the greatest photographers ever, has these just amazing photos top down. And that is, in my opinion, something that Neil would have done back in the day. And that was just one of those homages where it's like, that's what he would do. I walked into the dressing room and this was happening. And they're like, I'm like, sorry. And they're like, oh no, stay. I was like, hold on, let me go get my fisheye. Because I wanted to get close. So I'm running, I get my fisheye, I get down low, and there we go. I mean, intimate moments, and they're there. They wanted everything captured. And I was there to capture them. There's more in the book. This is the cover of the book. You might think that it's a studio shot. It's not. This was in Vancouver, British Columbia. Outside of one of the dressing rooms, there was just like a floodlight. And I'm like, Perry, stand right here. He's smoking a joint because it was legal there, I think. I don't know. At least he said it was medical, so I guess. But I'm like, do this thing. And he did, and he puffs, and he blows the smoke, and he ends up like this. And I'm just firing those shots away. They're all in the book, and this is the keeper. It's just one of those things that just worked. It just worked. But one of my all-time favorites, this ran in Rolling Stone in the United States. It ran in Rolling Stone in Germany. We actually have video of this happening in 2007. You know, we had iPhones. iPhones didn't shoot video. So a guy I was working with, Ari, had the camcorder, and if the video plays on the next slide, you can see this actually happening. Like pre-social media stuff. Social media didn't even exist back then. And my job, by the way, on the road was to take photos and get Perry more MySpace spins. They would play the song, and then he'd get more numbers. So I took it from 300 to 3,000 in the first week just because we gave people content. We gave them something to come back for every day. And so it worked. It was social media before social media was even a thing.
Okay, ready?
There we go.
Just tell me if the coast is clear.
Don't worry about the banana hammock.
Okay, let's go.
And watch the left side. That's me! It's a Bloomingdale's.
Oh, you're good.
3 pictures. Yeah. Could you imagine the 1960s behind-the-scenes photos and videos? Or if they had photos, cell phones for all of that? That would have been kind of crazy. I have a couple of quotes here. My dad's watching at home. If you try to make everybody happy, you make nobody happy. Right? It's true. These are things that he told me when I started my YouTube. Like, you can't worry about it because it's better to have 50% of the people love you, 50% of the people hate you, than have 100% not give a darn. I gotta save $10. No. If you weren't twins, I would do it. It's good. Jeffrey doesn't want me cursing anymore, right?
Unless I get $10.
Oh, you want $10 now. And one of the things that I've gotten to a point at is people ask me if they can hire me. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but I have a thing about, like, I will not be beholden to someone else's expectations, which means it's very difficult to hire me for certain things, because as soon as you get hired, there's sometimes this expectation that they're going to tell you what you need to do. But when you work with people that get it, professionals, B+H gets it, they let me do what I want to do, which is good. They just say, do your thing. But other people sometimes try to take the control away from you. And when you're an artist and when you're creating, you know what to do. You want to create your own stuff. You don't want someone telling you what to do. So I'm lucky enough to be at the point where I don't need to be beholden to someone else's expectations. I have this slide of Peter was talking at another event. We all know Peter, yeah, McKinnon? Unfortunately, couldn't make it this week or yesterday. We were both speaking at an event. And I said to myself, I'm going to sit and watch Peter and show my support, and I'm going to sit in the front row and listen. And then all these photographers were lining up to take pictures, and I was like, man, I hope someone gets a good shot. And then I'm like, wait a second. Why hope someone let me get my damn camera out. I go upstairs, I get my camera. I'm like, I can do it. This is what I do. Why would I not do it? Like, I don't like going to concerts if I can't shoot them. Because it's boring to me to stand there and watch a band be like, people are all in it. They're like falling over for how amazing they're feeling the music. I don't feel shit. I knew that when Peter was over, when he was done speaking, I wanted to get up on the side of the stage, I wanted to walk behind him, and I wanted to get a shot. The shot that I envisioned was him right in the middle, people standing and clapping, and me up close. I had like a 12 to 24, or it was a 14 to 24 Sigma on there at the time. But my thought was, wait, what if people think that Jared's trying to steal the light, right? What if they think that he just wants to get on stage because it's all about me? But then my brain went to, well, no, I'm actually just a photographer right now. Yes, I'm Frono's Photo, and yes, people know me, but I'm shooting this. And this is what I would do for anybody. Just like with the James Blunt photo, I went up and I did it because I know that they rather see a great photo than worry that the 400 people in the room are all like, oh, why is that guy getting up on stage? And so I get up on there and I take a couple of photos behind him and I walk off. Now, what I don't do is I don't do this thing. You know how when people leave, they get up to leave to pee, they're like, don't look at me. I'm like, I see you. Just own it. Just walk. Just do it, right? Just own it. So the thing there was getting behind Peter, taking the photo, believing in myself, which I have that huge self-belief in doing anything, as I've already mentioned, and not letting other people do the things that you know you can do. And that's why I'm a big proponent of personal projects and working for free within reason. I'm not talking about people calling you and be like, I need you to shoot this, and it doesn't benefit you. It has to benefit you in some way. You have to get your foot in the door. And if that means doing something for someone and it can benefit you and lead to something else, that's good within reason. You have to feel that one out yourself. But personal projects are the most important thing that I think you need to talk about or you need to think about. Because instead of sitting around and doing nothing and waiting for jobs to happen, give yourself assignments. Give yourself jobs. Give yourself things to do. Everybody knows someone that maybe doesn't own a restaurant, but I use restaurants as you own restaurants. Yes? How many of them? 7. He owns 7 restaurants. Everybody knows somebody. Now you all know a guy who owns 7 restaurants. You know someone who works at a restaurant. You know a chef. You know a server. Go in there and say, I want to shoot some portraits. I want to do some candids. I want to photograph the food. And what happens after you photograph the food? You usually get to eat it. Right? So now you're getting something. But you go in and you do this. So now you're like, they don't have to pay, so you're taking the pain out of it, and you're getting something. You're learning on the job. You're getting more portfolio stuff. Portfolios, you still need to have your portfolio, but you go and you photograph the servers, the chef, the proprietor, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're having a party coming up. We need someone to go around shooting photos, and we'll pay you this amount of money. Or how much does it cost? Okay. Then the server's like, my kid's has a birthday party. Can you photograph that? All right. Now you're starting to make things happen. And that's what it's all about. You need to go and do those things instead of sitting around and being like, they're never going to let me do that. Just call and ask. Walk in and ask. You never know what's going to happen, right? If you never ask, you never get the yeses. And so don't be afraid to do it. Let me jump in here real quick and say I hope you're enjoying Fro Uncensored too, and that you're getting a lot of information out of it. Now, if you're looking to shoot in low light situations, very similar to what I've done in a lot of my concert situations, but you're not sure where to start or how to set your camera, well, I have a free guide to capturing motion in low light situations. To get it for free, head on over to fronosphoto.com, and while you're over there, look for this orange box, put your name, email address in it, hit send it, and I'm gonna send you that guide for free, and you'll also be added to my email list so you can get all of the latest updates. Now, let's get back to Fro Uncensored 2. One of my biggest personal projects is this one. It's called 6 Degrees. And the idea is that I spend the day in the life of interesting people, whether they're athletes, musicians, tech visionaries, sometimes regular people. And the thing is, they get to tell me where I go next, anywhere in the world. I tell them it doesn't cost you anything. I cover my travel. You get the photos to use online any way you see fit. And we go from there. So Steve Weatherford, who was the first guy I just asked, I'm like, let's do this. He connected me with Lewis Howes, who then connected me with this guy, Jason Flom, who was the founder of Lava Records, who connected me with a young artist that he signed named Maddie Noise, who connected me with Stefan Macchio, who did I meet through Stefan, right? James Blunt, Skylar Gray, all of these people, everybody that he's ever worked with. And then we've got Charlie Walk at the end, who was a super big music executive as well. You never know who you're going to meet through these people. I can pick up the phone and get to almost anybody within 2 calls at this point because I know these people. And they didn't have to pay anything for it. And Coach George Raveling, awesome guy. Met him through Ryan Holiday, who's written a bunch of New York Times bestsellers. I took photos of Coach, and Coach needed photos for the cover of his book. They put mine on the back cover of his book. Lewis Howes, who you saw earlier, was telling me while we were doing the shoot, and he's like, I have a book coming out, and I have this idea for a photo, and I turned my camera around, and I said, like this? He's like, yeah. And it ended up being the cover of his book. And then I ended up getting paid multiple times because they needed the US rights, the Canadian rights, the German rights, and then they just keep paying you money. And I was like, okay. But my intention wasn't to make money. My intention was, I want these connections, or I just want to go shoot, because you never know who you're going to meet. I almost ended up at a Diddy party once. It was Charlie Walk's fault. He was in LA, he was on a show that had Diddy, DJ Khaled, Meghan Trainor, and we got invited to a Diddy party. I was all like, I want to go to sleep, I've been up for 24 hours, but it's a Diddy party! I didn't know what that meant then. They canceled it, so we didn't have to go to the Diddy party, thankfully. I'm good now. Other personal stuff. We got Kyle Troop. He looks like me, kind of, just because of the hair. He's a bowler. Well, I wanted to photograph bowlers. I reached out to him, went and photographed him. Thought there was a show there. Thought there was a possibility to make some sort of reality show with bowlers. They didn't have any knowledge of, do we have a deal with someone to make a bowling show, like F1 style? And I started the process with a friend. I'm like, I think we should try something. We put up our own little money, not a lot of money. We went and we didn't ask for permission, because if you ask for permission, sometimes they're going to tell you no. And I was just like, no one's telling me no, let's do it. Well, lo and behold, hopefully in December the show comes out. It got bought. I can't tell you by who, that they haven't announced that, but it's one of those big, famous, not Netflix, but it's another big one. And just because of an idea, part of my project, photographing different people, you never know who you're going to meet, you never know what's going to happen. And it's just by getting out there and doing stuff. As I said at the beginning, there's no secrets to this. You just have to do it. You just have to get off your ass. Ass is not a curse. No, it isn't. It is not. You just have to do it. Another personal project. I got tired of shooting baseball photos at 120 frames a second because it gets boring. So why not buy a camera from 1948 and try to photograph like they did in the 1940s? You got Bryce Harper on the bench. How did I get Bryce Harper photos? I asked him on the field before the game. Because if you don't ask, you're not getting it. He actually canceled on me twice. But he was nice enough to let me know, and then he came up to me before a game. He's like, we need to do this. How's tomorrow at 1? I'm like, I'll be there. I took 2 pictures. This is one of them. It's a slow process to shoot the 4x5. And it's just incredible to be able to... I'm not a film guy. I'm pretty anti-film for all intent and purposes. But being able to go there and create stuff with a camera from 1948 and a lens from World War II that's technically radioactive, because it's coated with radioactive material, as they told me. They said, just don't sleep with it. I was like, no, that's only Diddy parties. You just get out here and try to create like the photographers did back in the day. I have the ability to go and do this because I'm able to make money at my YouTube channel. I've stepped out and believed in myself to get out here and become a success. I got out of that mentality of I'm going to be dragged along with someone else and ride their coattails to doing it myself. I wanted to go out and be the one that was successful. That self-belief that I can do it. I failed a ton. Everybody fails a ton. I have a hard head. I get up and I do it again. Yes, can I have another? I mean, my brother never punched me in the face, but knocked me down. I would keep getting back up. Yes, can I have another? So that was all back in the day. But the point is that I'm able to step out here because most photographers at the games, they're working for someone. They can't take that risk of trying something different. But because I tried something different, it makes you think different to shoot with something so old. It strips everything down back to the fundamentals and basics. Finding different angles, doing something unique. Bryce Harper in the outfield in Chicago. I wasn't allowed on the field. I'm on the field. It doesn't matter. So happened that I showed up at 11 in the morning and I was hanging out on the warning track, and my buddy's the team photographer who then got a call from security, and there's a guy on the field taking photos. Should we do something to him? He's like, no, that's Jared. Connections. I know the team photographers because they know what I do. It's just the door's open. You have to meet people. You have to put yourself, Shohei Ohtani. We've got video of this in Japan, of me photographing, taking these photos. I went 4 for 5 with focus, by the way, in like a 3-minute span, which is kind of mind-boggling. That led to me doing a PGA event. This is Tony Finau. Anybody watch golf? Yeah. So I then got to do this type of event with my camera. I love this stuff. So again, there's no secret to being successful. I just kind of like letting these pictures talk for themselves a little bit. The tilt shift, you got Rory McIlroy finishing with Tony Finau, tilted. You actually have Rory, it's probably hard to see on the screen, but he's in focus on the screen in the back. And then Rory goes through a line to sign autographs. Look at the little girl. I mean, this looks like it's straight out of the 40s. It's one of those types of photos. And I have a video that I'm going to call like 11 minutes of chaos because I had a 4-head camera, an Insta360 on my head, and I have 11 minutes of me taking 6 photos. There's a lot of missed opportunities. Like I'm winding the shutter. I'm ready to take the picture and someone moves and you have to start all over again. Anybody know who that is? Yeah, of course you don't. Bret Michaels of Poison. The way that I got to Bret Michaels and Poison is their drummer named Ricky Rocket sent me a message. He's into photography. There's always a photographer in every band. There always is. So he's like, hey, we're coming to Philly. Do you want to shoot? I was like, yes. Introduces me to Bret. Bret's like, I might pull you up on stage, man, whatever. That's what he was. He's like, yeah, cool. I'm like, cool, yeah, no problem. And I end up with a shot. And you might think that this is posed. But I got the video of this. Let's watch this real quick.
This is a moment frozen in time. For as frozen as this moment seems, the reality is it was here and gone in 1/2500th of a second. Yep. It happens that fast. But the funny thing is, I almost wasn't in position to get the shot. You see, I was just about to walk off stage when I glanced back, saw Bret alone on the catwalk, and made the split-second decision to wait just a few seconds longer. Do I hear the 55,000 people screaming? No. I'm locked in. As soon as Bret started walking towards me, I got down in my shooting position, grabbed my focus, and reacted. Now this moment is forever frozen in time.
This has been a Frono's Photo Short. Please subscribe.
Ding. Thank you. I really wish I could film every single shoot that I do, and for a while I was doing that with the Sonys. Nikon is the best for that. I shoot Canon now, but I would love for Canon to unlock that ability, Canon. Canon, anybody? Canon Japan? Yes, please. But I just love showing what happens. You see how fast this stuff happens. But again, it doesn't happen overnight. You make the connections. You get out there and you do stuff. There's no secret. Anybody that tells you there's I don't want to curse again. Anybody that tells you that there's a secret to being successful is full of shit. You know how hard you have to work to be successful. It just doesn't happen by osmosis. So that's the moral of the story here. I know it's not as making people cry like last year. That's hard to top. But I hope that this resonated with you, and I hope that anybody who has an idea for a project just goes and does the project. Don't worry. Don't ask the questions of what if it doesn't work. What if it does work? You never know where you end up. I struggled through my 20s. Terribly. I lived at home till I was like 31. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I helped take care of my grandmother for a bunch of those years with my dad. But a lot of it took time. And it took getting out there and actually putting in the hard work and believing in myself. No secrets. So That's where I'm going to leave that. Thank you guys very much. We got Q&A now.
Woo, woo, woo. Let's give it up. Closing it down with Fro.
Oh, people standing. Thank you.
And we have Kyle here for questions. If everyone has any questions, we got time for a few
If you
questions.
got questions.
Oh.
We have another mic too. Anybody has a question, just get your hands up.
Where's my money?
How much do I owe you?
120.
Each? No, it's not 120 each.
60.
Here's 100. I got it. I'll give it to you later. God, this costs me money. Questions, where do we got? Go ahead.
After all this time, do you still feel the pressure like leading up to a big photo shoot? And if you do, how do you handle it? And if you don't anymore, what was kind of that breaking point that you got past where you don't feel that anymore?
Great question. I think if you don't feel the pressure, there's something wrong with you. Like right before I go on stage, I'm worried, right? I'm nervous until I get started. And when it comes to shooting shows or anything, I want to be able to repeat what I've done in the past and be able to capture those great moments. And so I do worry about it. But just like with the Bret Michaels thing, nothing's going through my mind other than getting the shot. Like I turn around, I look, I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen, let's do it. I don't worry that someone's gonna be like, oh, he's on stage too long or whatever, because I got the shot. And so that's what I care about. The way you get through it is you just do these things. You don't worry about what other people are gonna think about it. You just go and you get that moment and you capture it. The best way through it is to just do it. Good? Yes. Question.
Hey, Jared. Thanks for being here. You're incredible. I always watch your YouTube videos.
Thank you.
Very inspirational and informational. I had two questions. One, could I have a selfie?
Yeah?
And two, how would you inspire young up-and-coming content creators?
Content creators? I mean, it's the same thing I've been saying. You do the work. There is no secret to being successful. You have to just do it. Yes, you get breaks, but you have to be good to get lucky. You have to be in the positions to get lucky. You got to be good to get lucky. Do the work every day. What is something that you want to do? If you want to be a content creator, what are you creating? What value are you giving other people? Don't listen to what other people have to say all the time. Take things that people say and pick and choose what works for you. But what works for me might not work for you. Like, I don't like listening to or looking at what other people are doing when it comes to YouTube and seeing how they're successful. Maybe they're successful on TikTok. I'm like, that's not me. But that doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong. Doesn't mean they're doing something wrong. They're right there, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be able to replicate the same thing. So every day, put the work in. Come up with ideas, execute. When I first started my YouTube channel, every single day I woke up, made a video, had an idea, filmed it, edited it, put it out, did it again. If it didn't do well, tomorrow another video is happening. Just keep going. Come on up while we get questions. Go ahead. Go ahead, next question.
So I was wondering like how you got into working with the Phillies and like professional sports teams as...
That's a good question. Go ahead, selfie. Nailed it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Rule of thumb, when someone hands you a business card, I've learned you two-hand do this. And then front pocket's good, back pocket's bad. I've learned that. So the baseball one is interesting. I had no idea that Ken Griffey Jr. was following my Instagram. I sent him a message one day and said, Junior, if you ever want to talk about photography, here's my phone number. 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. Hello? Hey, it's Junior. Oh, hey, Junior, what's up? And then just, what do you need? What could I help you with? Talk to him like he's a human being because he's a human being, right? He just is one of the greatest baseball players of all time calling me on the phone. All right, let's have a conversation. And then, we've been to Kenya. We went to Kenya on a trip, on a safari. And, when you know Junior, you have doors that open up. But that doesn't happen unless I put myself out there and become what I became. right? If I didn't believe in myself to go out on my own and to do the work, I don't meet Junior. But because I meet Junior, it opens up other doors. I open up doors for people now. Like, I'm like a super connector because I know so many people through the projects and the things that I've done. I can get to almost anybody. We can get to Bernie Sanders. You know, why not? But, right, like, and doing the Fund a Photographer, where I get to give out Canon gear to people, to kids that may never have that gear, being able to do that to inspire them to do that in the future. All I ask of them when I give them the gear is, you pay it forward when it's time to pay it forward. Just keep bettering the next generation that's coming up. How am I on time? I don't want to end.
I think we're gonna wrap things up with you right now. But folks, Jared's not leaving the house. He's not leaving the building. He's gonna be at the after party, and he's gonna be signing his books there. So you'll definitely want to continue the conversation. It'll be open for Q&A over there as well. So one last time, let's give a big round of applause to Fro.
Thank you. So am I still on? Am I still on?
You're still on?
I gave out some tickets to people throughout a couple days. Well, B+H was kind enough to purchase a bunch of my new books. And if you do have a ticket, go to the front of the line. There's about 200 and change of these books that we will be giving out at the pavilion, which is out to the right. And I'll be there I'm not going to sign the books because they're all wrapped up, and it's better to keep them wrapped up, but I have things to sign and to do a meet and greet and to talk. So there's only a limited number of those. So if you're in line and you're like, truly, truly, truly want one, you got to get over there, and they'll start a line, but do it nicely, and that's it. So thank you guys very much. Wait, I'm going to do my sign off. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.